The program I came to talk about, Heroes and Healthy Families, is very unique in that it kind of formed itself. The genesis of it is a Superior Court judge in Orange County, California, saw so many Marines, young Marines coming in front of her in her courtroom that shouldn't have been there and wouldn't have been there except for their very traumatic experiences overseas. And it angered her, and she said, I have to do, she's just that kind of advocate. So she called up the commanding general of Camp Pendleton, nearby Orange County, which, commanding generals take judges' phone calls. They wouldn't have taken my phone call, but it worked. And they got together and pulled in Marine and Family Services. And she said, look, I don't know what to do except that we want to help you in the nonprofit, in the private side, in the nonprofit side. We want to work together with the military. Is there something we can do in our local area? Which is a very new concept. I think that's a new concept there, clearly, but across the country. And so it just organically formed. We were sent to the Marine and Family Services Department to just sit down with therapists and social service kind of delivery type people in a room to see what it is we could do together. The agency was called the Family Violence Project that the judge had actually founded. She's very much an advocate and a visionary. What ended up coming out of them is that they will bring together the Marines as their duty station for that day. So 1,000 Marines at a time are assigned. They don't know where they're going. They're voluntold that you will just come and attend this service, which addresses the stigma issue. And then what the Heroes and Healthy Families program does is bring together speakers from the nonprofit as well as the military sector from all over the United States that are experts in the different topics that face Marines and sailors returning from combat trauma, returning from war. It grew. We started the first one at Camp Pendleton. It was very successful, very healing to just spend the day talking about two things. Not only what kind of trauma could this be for you, but also your leaders. The primary target audience is non-commissioned officers, about 21 to 25, but they're assigned to lead. And so how would you recognize the signs of combat trauma within the family as well as within the individual as a leader? And that's easier sometimes to hear than how are you doing with it? But it always ends up addressing both issues. Expanded from Camp Pendleton to Camp Lejeune, and then the Marine Corps Reserves invited us out when they flew in 1,000 Marines from all over the United States to Atlanta, Georgia, put them up in the Marriott Marquis, which alone was really, really healing. It sounds funny, but it was really healing. They said, several of them said, in 15 years, I've never felt treated so special by the Marine Corps or attended a seminar that was so much obviously pointed towards helping me in my career. And what happened in the lobby that night afterwards, because they were all together, continued till 6 in the morning. We should have had our therapists in the lobby rather than there during the day. We also added couples therapy, couples seminars to just talk about this, just to get people dialoguing as couples in terms of what effects it's having on their family. I agree with you that have said in this room that we really have to pull in the family because it's the Marine families that are bearing the brunt of this 10-year war. What are the content? A couple things that are always there. The commanding general of the base has to be there and has to open the conference because it sets the tone for them feeling supported by their base as well as the outside agency. We also have a Medal of Honor winner come to every one of them. Very powerful. They're rock stars in the Marine community. And when someone who's 60, 70, 80 says, please deal with this now. I wasted 40 years of my life struggling with this. It's very powerful. The topics we also have is always substance addiction. A lieutenant colonel who's a recovered alcoholic does a fabulous job on that topic. We always address the issue of suicide because it's such a big issue. And we have an Army general who lost his son to suicide and then won 7 months later in Iraq. He and his wife speak about how to handle that kind of grief. A sergeant major, which is perfect, always comes in and does PTSD from an experiential point of view, not from an academic point of view. And then we often put in, we always have something on the effect on your marriage. Another one that's a hot topic one of you mentioned also is adrenaline addiction. We see that across the board. But since these programs are formed with the Marine and Family Services at each base all over, we ask what they need. So some topics are added, such as we've been asked to talk about effects of pornography on children, effects of pornography on marriage, was an issue on one base. Family law judge talking about divorce and custody, financial planning, whatever it is that's needed. This is an organic program that meets the needs of the base that we're at. And the latest addition is healing modalities that are non-traditional. So all of the things in this room I'm writing down furiously because we're going to add them to the list to teach at the next one. But I also want to say, just in closing, that at the last seminar we had of 1,000 young Marines in the room, I started asking them, just as an intro, how many tours of duty they've been on. I stopped at 12. I couldn't hear anymore. 12 tours of duty, and they're 26, 25 years old. That's why we're here. That's a big issue we need to address together. So I appreciate everyone being here and for inviting me. Thank you.